What up, football family? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, P.O. Coulter. All right, ballers and ballettes, it is week 15, aka the semifinal rounds of the Fantasy Football Playoffs. For those who were able to handle your business in round one or had a first round bye, tip of the hat to you, kudos to you, and congratulations. For those of you who are in leagues where your fantasy football playoffs start this week, congrats to you on making the playoffs, and welcome to the Fantasy Football Show, the playoff edition. Last week we profiled players who were returning from injury that may play a role in you getting into the second round of the playoffs. This week we're going to profile some fantasy football running backs that should take center stage to help you get into that finals round next week. Now, we all know that the last few weeks of the fantasy football season has been an absolute nightmare for star running backs, but don't worry. The Fantasy Football Show is right here to get you some of those quality replacements to get into that championship round, all right? So let's get started. We're going to start in the Big Apple and profile Mr. Sean Green, running back of the New York Jets. Now, if you're a Green owner, then you know as well as anybody how inconsistent he's been throughout the year. One good game, two bad games. Couple of good games, then he disappears or gets injured. Well, it looks like right now he is on an absolute hot streak that makes him a tyrant inferno. Check this out. Over the last 2 weeks, Sean Green has amassed over 300 total yards and 4 touchdowns. 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That'll get you in the championship game even if your quarterback is not doing too hot. This week's matchup for Sean Green is the Philadelphia Eagles, who can be had with that bogus wide nine. I digress. I'm not going to get started on the Eagles' wide nine defensive scheme. The guy was working at Krispy Kreme 2 years ago, and now he's the defensive coordinator for the Dream. Okay, all right. Yeah, no, all that's saying is that Green has an excellent matchup this week. The Eagles are giving up 115 yards a game on the ground. The Jets are in a must-win situation, and they are ground and pound. That's a recipe for success for Sean Green and for you if you own him. Get that brother into your lineup. Now, moving on from Sean Green, we'll go down to Big D and profile Mr. Felix Jones, running back of the Dallas Cowboys. Now, Jones has come full circle since he opened the season against those said Jets. Of course, Jones started the season, went down with an injury. Then a rookie backup by the name of DeMarco Murray came in, and it's pretty much a wrap after that. He's breaking Emmitt's records. He's running through the hole. He's silky smooth. And he really looks like an every down back. But he got injured last week against the Giants and will be lost for the year with an ankle injury. Feel bad for that, brother. But that put Felix Jones right back into the fray. And Felix responded fantastically, if you ask me. 137 total yards and 6 receptions. And the 6 receptions is basically the equivalent of a touchdown. So 137 total yards and a touchdown. That's awesome. And he will be the one toting the rock the remainder of the fantasy football playoffs because there's really no one behind him. Philip Tanner and he's the only other viable backup that saw any considerable time, and he's out on IR as well. So Felix looks to be getting all the touches. They're in a must-win. They must win out. So look for him to be very involved in the offense and a quality start for you in Week 15. Get that brother in your lineup. Now, moving on from Felix Jones, we'll profile one of his old backfield mates, Mr. You know what? Before I get into that, hey, Bears fans, come on in. This week, Marion Barber is a great play to get into your lineup. And if you're a diehard fan, this is not a time that you go emotional homer on me. Come on in. Don't go emotional homer. If you drop that brother, because what happened last week against Tebow, bad move, bro. Bad move. Now, if you're one of the non-emotional owners who may see Barber sitting on your waiver wire, pick that brother up and play him this week. As we all know, there's really no other backup to him to get any considerable catches or carries. He was absolutely fantastic last week, despite his late game theatrics that cost him the physical game. But from a fantasy standpoint, 140 total yards and a touchdown, that's money, even with a fumble. And so this week, he draws a Seattle defense who's not garbage. They're not scrubs against the run. But then again, neither was Denver. Now, Barber has quality starts under his belt. He was very productive for the Cowboys, early on in his career there. And so he's an excellent play this week. against the Seattle Seahawks. Now, moving on from Marion Barber, we'll head out west to profile Mr. Beanie Wells. Beanie Wells. My, how fast we can go from the outhouse to the penthouse, huh? Looks like just last week that Wells was our homer alert to basically begging you not to play the brother. By the way, he put up about 40 total yards with no touchdowns. But I digress. This week, he is definitely off the home alert list and into your must-start list because he draws the playoff-friendly Cleveland Browns run defense, who has generously given up over 150 yards a game and currently ranks second to last in the league against the run. Cleveland is done. They're toast. Put a stamp on them. Mail them out of here. It looks like Beanie Wells will be able to get back to his winning ways and his running ways, get you a touchdown and probably 100 plus total yards. Get that brother into your lineup. Now, from last week's homer alert to this week's homer alert. Now, if you're in the Twin Cities, if you're a Minnesota fan, an Oklahoma Sooner fan, if you're an AP apologist, if you think he's the best thing since sliced bread, put yourself on pause. He's this week's homer alert, and for good reason. For one, Adrian Peterson hadn't played in forever. Number two, those ankle injuries can be tricky. And number three, and most importantly, I mean, really, he has nothing to play for. I mean, tell the truth. If you were his agent, would you really tell him to go all out? I mean, he's not going to win the rushing title. You can forget that. They're not going to the playoffs. You can forget that. The only thing you can do is get busted up again and for what? Adrian Peterson is scheduled to play this week, but I do not see him being too effective. And we're looking at a Saints run defense who absolutely shut down a Chris Johnson, who looked like Chris Johnson of the past. So it's a really brutal matchup against Greg Williams in that ferocious blitz and run defense. It's a bad matchup for a lot of reasons. I know it's Adrian Peterson, and you draft him first in your draft, but this is the semis, and there's no time to make any homer mistakes. So whoever you were using to get you to this point, if it wasn't Toby Gerhart, play that brother this week instead of Adrian Peterson. If you see that Peterson is back to his normal self, then you'll feel safe to play him in your championship game. But for this week, I would stay away. Now, this concludes our Week 15 semifinal playoff edition of the Fantasy Football Show. I certainly want to wish each and every one of you the best of luck and hope to see you all back here for the championship round. As we always say on the show, life is a sport, so always play to win. If you have any start sit advice of your own, feel free to drop us a comment. We love to hear your advice. Hey, we're all one team here. We're all just trying to help each other get that hardware. Or you can drop me a line on Twitter. That's at PL Culture. That's at PLCOLTER. All right, it's your boy PL. I'm out. Good luck and God bless.